Hello, I'm Sarah Warren. I'm with the Accounting Angels and I am a bookkeeper. I've been a bookkeeper since I was 14 years old. So I learned how to do bookkeeping before we used computers. We used QuickBooks Desktop. Then we moved over to QuickBooks Online. So I've been around a while. Um, this newest thing is the AI that is coming up. And so I see this question asked a lot in different groups with lots of different bookkeepers. And so this is kind of going out to all the CPAs and bookkeepers. I'm going to just tell you my opinion because I'm the weirdo of the bunch here. Everybody's asking whether or not AI will take our jobs. And everybody's saying, oh no, it won't take your job. Um, It'll change the way you work. You'll be doing the easier stuff. I mean, it'll do like a lot of the easier stuff, but we'll still need people. You should go into offering advisory services. So they're pushing a lot of us into advisory services. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing to do because it's always good to expand your horizons and offer more services. But I do think that it might not be this year, might not be next year, but eventually AI is going to come in and take jobs. So the reason I think that is because I go to the science. So right now they're focusing a lot of their AI and they're really helping AI learn. So the AI that we have today is like a little baby. It's a little baby AI. It's not a full AI yet. It's learning. It's growing. A little infant baby can't feed itself, it can't talk, it can't understand, it doesn't walk, none of those things. Then it grows up and then it matures and it learns. So we are in the infancy stages of this AI. So I go out and I'm looking at areas where it's been allowed to simmer and learn a little bit longer. Which rightly so, they're focusing their attentions on AI right now on areas that are more important than bookkeeping. That's not a really important area to focus. If you're going to look at AI, you're going to focus most of your efforts in areas that are going to save people's lives. Science, medical, and it's doing amazing things. It won in 2024, it won the no AI won the Nobel Prize. It helped scientists solve problems that they'd been working on for literally 50 years. It solved the problem. They had to work on it. It took a little while. It took a couple years for them to fully integrate it. And once it started learning, it solved all the problems. So this had to do with proteins. I'm not a scientist, but it had to do with proteins. And so they just basically said, we'll map all of them because we have the ability. And it would take years to map one. And they mapped them all. So we're looking into physics. It's solving mysteries having to do with physics. It is working in radiology. It's able to identify lung cancer when a radiologist or doctor looking at things would not be able to identify it. So it's able to early identify things like lung cancer. So it is still in baby steps in the medical industry, and it's already saving lives, winning Nobel Prizes, and it hasn't even fully got up to speed in that area yet. So I'm not saying that this is going to happen this year. I'm not saying it's going to happen next year, but once it fully comes online and is allowed to simmer and to learn, I think that it will take over everything. Everybody's getting pushed into the advisory services, and I'm finding that it's better on the advisory services now than it is on bookkeeping. It is very intuitive. It is able to figure things out. It can communicate very, very well, and it has a really good logic to it. I'm like, it does better on, I'll feed in some information for it and it can reason on that stuff better than it does the bookkeeping, stuff. So somebody has to spend the time and the money to put a platform that is alerting, which QuickBooks is investing in. It's just barely rolling out. So everybody's like, this doesn't work. This is no good. It's a baby right now. It hasn't come fully online. I don't know how long it's going to take, It seems like it does take a little bit longer than I think it would take because they've got to spend the money to get the large language models up and working and learning right. So it does take a little bit of time, but once it gets it, it gets it. That's is what I'm seeing in the sciences. So if you think I'm a liar, do some research on the Nobel Prize, how it was won. There's actually a movie out on Prime right now called The Thinking Game, which that explains how they started with the AI, where it went, how it progressed, and then once it got rolling, and then how eventually it won the Nobel Prize in 2024. Kind of how it worked. So this is going to, eventually launch all across everywhere. There just has to be enough of money, for people to write the program. So there has to be enough of a payoff. And these software companies, they're not going to have any loyalty to us. So if they can cut us out of the deal, get a bigger fee, and cut us out of the equation, we know they will. And so it's going to be people like us that eventually will be the ones that are going to take the brunt of it. It's already making, it's making a lot of waves in medical. It's making a lot of waves in engineering. It's making a lot programming, um, graphic design. It's already really modeling. People don't have to have a model anymore. They're all AI voiceover. All the voiceover actors, a lot of them are out of work now because the AI can do a lot of voice stuff. So it's already starting to happen kind of with this low hanging fruit, but eventually it'll come fully online. The experts say that once everything fully rolls out, that AI will have an IQ of about 1800. The average person doesn't break 200. There's few people that have even over 200. So you're talking 9 times smarter than a really smart human. So I think to say that it would not be capable of doing bookkeeping is very naive. So my advice is, plan for it to happen. So plan for this to happen, maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but watch what is happening, what's going on. Is it happening? Is it getting smarter? Because once it gets smarter, you don't want to be taken by surprise when this thing happens. I'm not so sure that just offering advisory service is gonna cut it. Um, I think that what's going to happen is that maybe we'll have more clients and we're reviewing more work. There's going to be a rollout on this, so I think that it's going to get smarter. It'll drive us all crazy. So we'll have a lot of extra work. So save it up when you're getting this extra work because it's going to take more time as it's learning. Then eventually it'll get smarter to the point where it can just be managed. And then eventually it'll get to the point where it might not even get to be managed. There's also the IRS. We have the IRS, which they would love for these large language models to come online and everybody to use not human bookkeepers and not have business owners doing their own bookkeeping. So you have a AI that has instant recall to the entire IRS code, all the reasons why you can't do something. It won't cheat on taxes. It's going to need proof of everything. It knows where you're going, what you're doing. And so, from a government standpoint, they're going to really like the idea of having this AI doing bookkeeping because it's going to eliminate a ton of the fraud. Because you're not going to be able, how are you going to, because there's a lot of fraudulent stuff going on. It's going to be able to catch all the people that are cheating on their taxes. It's going to be able to catch the people that are 1099, what the rules are for 1099. It's going to be able to catch all of those things that we as bookkeepers really butt heads with some business owners, not all of them, but some business owners would butt heads with. And we know there's a lot of them that come across our path that we won't take work from because we know they're kind of operating in the more shadowy areas. So we don't, go there. But I think the government would just love to have all that go away. Like sign up for this. AI is doing the bookkeeping and there is no room for anything. You can't be fudging on your stuff. So there is that added little cherry at the end, cherry on top of the government's going to be like, yes, they're not rolling out grants and stuff like that, but that'll start coming. It'll start coming where they're going to help people implement all this stuff because it's to their advantage. Payroll will be, it is what it is because it'll all be tied together. Everything will be tied together. So if you have, payroll service, it's going to know, it's going to integrate and it'll know. So there's no um, room to fudge it anywhere like, some business owners will do. So if you're asking me what my opinion is have a plan B. What are you going to do if you open it up one day? You have clients that they love us. We've been through thick and thin together, but it still becomes a monetary decision. So what I like to do, like anything else, I'm investing money, I'm, buying a car, these decisions I'm making, I'm basing them on safety. When I invest my money, I'm investing in things that I feel are going to be a sure thing. When I'm picking my car, I'm going to pick a safe car. When you're planning for your future with your business, dovetail that in. What happens if this starts going south on me? What's my plan? What am I going to do? There's nothing wrong with, hey, I'm going to get some courses going. I'm going to get some, uh, learn a little something else, have a little side thing going on. There's nothing, because if it doesn't pan out and I'm completely wrong and it doesn't pan out, or maybe it takes 20 years to fully pan out, how is planning ahead going to be a bad thing? So what I think is, plan for the worst, hope for the best, and whatever shakes down, you're braced for it, is kind of my opinion. So anyways, agree, disagree. That's my opinion and why. We'll revisit this in 5 years and maybe 10 years and see if I'm right or not. I don't have a crystal ball. None of us do. I don't think it's going to happen super quickly because even what we're seeing with these self-driving cars, it's kind of taking a little bit longer. There has to be a market for it. They have to figure out how to do it inexpensively because yeah, you could probably get AI fully implemented to do bookkeeping fully, but who's going to pay for it? So they have to slowly roll it out so they use their money wisely to get it up and running so they can reach maximum saturation to get their money back, you know. And we are the guinea pigs for all this. So they are behind the scenes when we're categorizing stuff, when we're doing our work, QuickBooks is watching. And that's one of the reasons why I think that they have all the QuickBook Live bookkeepers is that they are watching how we work, how we think about things, how we decide on things. They are monitoring all that because that is going into all of the AI that they're going to be launching and learning. They're already probably 4 steps ahead of this. But what they're launching now, they're probably on step 4 already. We got step 1. They're already thinking about step 5 here. But we're in the very, very infancy stages. So our AI is a little baby right now. It's got to grow up. Thanks.